April 7th, 2025, almost April 8th, and I am finally ready to talk about an incident that happened to me on December 25th, 2024. I'm not 100% ready, but the Most High is leading me to talk about it, so I'm going to finally talk about it. On December 25th, 2024, I was put in harm's way on purpose. I feel once I gathered myself and realized what had happened, I realized that it was an attempt on my life. It was a good day for the most part. Just really relaxed the whole day. I don't celebrate traditional holidays, so I didn't do anything involving the traditional stuff on December 25th. Um, but I needed to go to the store because I needed to get some things. Um, I kind of waited because I didn't really feel like going, and it was like 7 o'clock when I finally decided to go. I announced to my daughter that I was about to go, and I asked her, did she want to go? And she said no. So after she said no, I was already ready, so I just went ahead and left the house and got in my vehicle and headed out of my subdivision. I wasn't really thinking anything of it at first, but I noticed that there was a truck sitting down the road, not that far down the road, sitting maybe, I would say maybe a quarter mile down the road. I live in a very rural area, and it was sitting there for a minute, and I thought for sure that when I made that left turn to come out of the subdivision, that truck was going to be done sitting there doing whatever it was he was doing. And so I made the left turn, and as I drove down the road, he was still sitting there on his brakes, not moving. And so I started slowing down and came to a stop myself. And I was sitting there for a minute, wondering like why he wasn't going. I was about to blow my horn, to be honest with you. I really try not to do that. I try to be patient, but you know, sometimes you gotta blow your horn. And so I was just about to blow the horn. Then I noticed that there was another truck that was coming out of the grass. This area, it's like there's a trailer park, and the truck was coming out of the grass where there's no entryway, no entrance or exit. It was just coming out of the grass and just to the street, I guess. And so I figured that the truck that was on his brakes was letting this truck go by, but I wondered why it took so long for this to occur. Um, Admittedly, I can be a bit naive sometimes. I just thought the situation might be just some, random, you know, just holiday happening, just some people at a get together, but I didn't see any other cars. So uh, the truck started to roll out from the grass, and like I said, there was no entryway. He just rolled out in that spot. I do have to say that in that spot there is just um, for some reason the ditch, there was no ditch right there, but there was a ditch on either side. So where the drainage normally is in the ditch was on either side of him, but still there was no entrance. And I'm sure that anybody would know that there is no entrance right there because the trailer park's been there like forever. So anyway, as this truck came down the grass, I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, as soon as he finishes, we'll be able to go. But he comes out of the grass and he goes to make a left turn, which is in my direction. And I was like, okay, he's going, he's not, He's letting him make a left turn. I'm just really not thinking about what's happening. I'm just like trying to get to the store. So he makes this left turn, and instead of him making the left turn and continuing to drive down the road, he made the left turn and started heading straight for me. And I was really, I was really perplexed, and I said a quick prayer. I was just like, Abba, y'all, please don't let this truck hit me, because the only other thing on my right side was the ditch. There was the road on the left and the ditch on the right, and there was nowhere for me to go. And so I just said that quick prayer, and just as I finished, his I think it was his front end made contact with my rearview mirror, and it slammed the rearview mirror into my side view mirror is what I should say. It slammed the side view mirror into my window so hard that I had to, just sit there and collect myself and make sure that my window was not damaged or cracked. And so I sat there for a second, collecting myself, and then the truck it corrected, which was shocking because I was just like, okay, was he drunk? And so then he corrected, and then he kept driving. He didn't stop, and then he got in the turn lane um, behind me. And at first I thought, okay, he's gonna stop. He wants to, I don't know, exchange information, see if I'm okay. I don't know what he was gonna do. That's what I thought he was gonna do at first, but he was only on his brakes for a brief period of time, and then he dipped up into the trailer park. He went ahead and made a left and dipped up into the trailer park. So at this point, like I said, the truck that was in front of me, um, it he let up off his brakes and he drove away. He drove away right, like he was gone by the time that this truck hit me. And so what I did was, after he dipped up into the trailer park, I'm like thinking, okay, I'm not gonna follow this guy because it's already dark now. It had just, like I said, 7 o'clock. It had already turned dark, and I was like, I'm not following this guy, so I'm just gonna go ahead and go to the store. Um, the truck, and I guess I should be more specific. There was it looked to be a dark gray truck that was on its brakes, a pickup truck that was dark gray, and I drive a pickup truck. And there was the pickup truck that came out of the grass was white, and the gray pickup truck looked to be maybe a GMC, and the white truck looked to be a Ford F-150. Um, and so basically, the gray truck was gone. Like, the gray truck went ahead and let up off his brakes and drove away. The speed limit is 45 on this road. After I got hit and collected myself and saw everything that went on, I saw the white truck dip up into the trailer park, and I rolled down my window to see what was going on, if my window was okay, if it was rolling up and down okay, and if my side view mirror was okay. Side view mirror was totally just trashed. It was coming apart. The plastic parts were coming apart. The window, the mirror itself was all cracked up. It's a heated mirror, so it's got like this tint on it or whatever, and whatever that stuff is, I don't know, but it's darker than the it's like a dark tint, but it was all just the mirror was all smashed in and everything, and so I was like, okay, wow, all right. First major damage that or I'm sorry, first minor damage that has ever been done to this truck. Everything else was able to be covered by insurance and taken care of if somebody hit me or whatever in the past, which had happened in the past years ago. But so I continued on down the road, and I was trying to see if I could see this the gray pickup truck, and he was nowhere to be found. I didn't see him turn. I don't know if he turned. I never saw him turn. The next, major road was about a mile up ahead, and I'm going 45 on this road. I never saw him. I got all the way to the gas station, little convenience store, and I never saw that truck again. And I thought it was odd, and I was reflecting all the way to the gas station about what had happened. And when I got to the gas station, I called my daughter and I was like, hey, somebody just hit me. And she was like, really? And I was like, yeah, right after I left the subdivision. And she was like, oh, wow. So I was like, well, I'm at the store. I'm going to get what I got to get, and then I'll be back home. So went into the store and picked my stuff up. And I came back home, and when I got home, she was waiting, 'cause she wanted to see what damage was done to the truck. She thought it was a lot worse than it was, and at first, I thought it was worse than it was. I thought it was more than just my mirror, but luckily, all praises to the Most High, it was just the side view mirror, and so basically, she came outside and she looked at it and she's like, oh man, the mirror is like, luckily it has one of those little magnification mirrors up in the corner of it, or I wouldn't even be able to use it. It's just like all cracked up, all smashed up. And I sat there, and when we went inside, I sat there and I was just like, I don't know if that was a drunk driver or what. And I was like, but it was so odd. And I started telling her, I was like, from the minute I turned left out of the subdivision, those two trucks, it was like, you know, I want to say it was a drunk driver, but I would be crazy to think it was a drunk driver because this stage scene was there for so long. It was in place for so long that I knew that my intuition was telling me it was not a drunk driver. It was telling me that somebody meant to hit me, and I don't know if they meant to knock me into the ditch. I don't know what they thought was going to happen. Um, they didn't, like I said, they didn't stop. So, and it was so minor that, of course, compared to damage that could have been done, like if they had hit my door instead of the window, it was so minor that, I didn't understand why they wouldn't stop. The thing that scared me was, it being the mirror, it was so close to me, my face. It was so close to me that if they full on just kept coming and hit me, I was gonna be gone. And I just kept thinking about it. It's been really hard to reflect on that and not realize how close I came to being seriously harmed. And so much has gone on, in my life over the past year and a half that I'm already, leery enough of certain things. And so it's been hard for me to talk about that. I tried to talk about it, and I guess you could say, I don't know, it kind of fell on deaf ears. It's weird because, I don't know, these days, I guess, I don't know, maybe peril is so commonplace that people tend to just kind of brush it off. They don't even think much of it. And like, for me, it was kind of an invalidating moment when I tried to talk about it because it was just like, are you sure that that's what happened? Are you sure that that the person was really trying to hit you? And I'm just like, if a person comes straight for you, they're trying to hit you. I mean, my headlights were on, the lights that are on my side mirrors, they were on. It was like the area was illuminated. There's no way to not see a big Ford F-150 pickup truck. You're in a pickup truck, I'm in a pickup truck, the truck in front of us is a pickup truck, all the same size. And, it's just no way, like, first of all, I'm glad that there's no way that I could have gotten knocked into the ditch. I'm just thinking that, in a 2.5 ton vehicle, that's where, the mercy came in. That's where the safety came in. I'm just glad that I was in a large enough, sturdy enough vehicle that, you know, it wouldn't move. Such an impact wouldn't even move it. But it's been hard to talk about because I've been in such a position where um, trust is a big factor for me. And after this incident happened, I had to think about the staging of what happened. I had to think about how I announced that I was leaving my house, and this staging incident was there all the way until I got there because I mean, like, I don't have like the biggest I don't live in the biggest subdivision or whatever, but just the fact that I had to drive. I had to, drive, turn a couple of corners just to make it out of my subdivision. So it took me maybe, I would say they had to have been there uh, at least maybe 7 to 10 minutes because it took me that long it's winter. So it took me that long to heat the car up, to let the car idle and then, drive off or whatever and then get to the main road. And so when I factored all this in, and again, so many things have happened that have put me in a position where I'm not nearly as trusting as I used to be. And that is what I've realized is that's a lesson that I've had to learn. I used to tell people all the time that in the Bible it says, you know, trust no man. It says trust no man in the Bible, and I've always all my life, and it's crazy because being where I'm from, we don't trust people until they give you a reason to trust them. But the people that have been the closest to me, I have always tended to just automatically have blind trust in them. And this video is not to say that I don't, this is not pointing at any of those people that are close to me. It's just basically saying that if you are not hearing from me, I have been in a state of solitude, and one of the main reasons has been because I now have extreme trust issues. Um, and so that's why it's taken me so long to actually talk about this. And, just, I, again, most people would have just thought, oh, well, it's Christmas. They might have been drunk. It was very early. Again, it had just turned 7 o'clock. Most people were still celebrating with their families at 7 o'clock in the evening. And so after I really thought about it, and I thought about how long the car sat there with its brakes on, I knew my intuition just told me that this was not a drunk driver. This was not, just a simple accident. If it was an accident, he would have stopped. I mean, even if it was dark, he would have at least rolled his window down and pulled up beside me to see if I was okay. I mean, that's just the type of thing that happens in, where I live out here in the country. And I'm not like, I'm not saying that this is like Mayberry or anything, but people are just not that malicious, I should say. But at any rate, the main thing I wanted to do is I just wanted to get this out. Obviously, it's important because the Most High has been leading me to do this for a while. And I say this all the time, and, Abba Yah, forgive me. It takes me so long to do what I'm being told to do. It takes me so long to just, I guess, get up just the motivation or the gumption or whatever to do what I'm being told to do, especially in a situation like this. But I know it's necessary, or else he wouldn't have been, constantly urging me to do it. And so I got on here to do it, to just say what needs to be said. That's I guess the most important part is that I realize that the funny thing is I haven't, again, I've been in a place of extreme solitude, extreme isolation. Um, and I know that's not that rare since the pandemic. But I, I don't even like to, I barely like to let people in, to service my, things in my house or whatever. If I need some work done or whatever, I barely like to let people in to do that. But it's just what I realized was that I've been too trusting, and I've allowed people around me that I should not have allowed around me, and it has been it's a cautionary tale. And I don't know if I'm telling this story because somebody else is going through something similar. I don't know if I'm telling this story because it needs to be heard, because of other mitigating factors or circumstances. But all I know is that it took me a long time to get to this place, and this is a very important place. Um, there's a certain level of trust that I was supposed to have all this time. And my trust was, you know, I don't know, I guess it was too much of a friendly trust. I guess it was too much of a loving blind trust. I don't know, but I'm finally in the place where I should be now. And, this is not to, basically alienate anybody or make anybody feel like called out, or like, this has anything to do with them. This is strictly about me and, basically my safety. I felt really like in that moment, I really felt uh, unsafe and just extremely concerned about how that incident was going to go. I thought I was going to end up in that ditch in the dark by myself. And so, that's why, like I said, when I saw his car angling towards me and the headlights pointing towards me, I just started to pray. But I just wanted to, like I said, get this out. I'm not gonna be any longer. I just wanted to get this out, and I just wanted to say that, again, it's no slight against anybody. I'm just not. I'm just in a place where I'm guarding my own energy and my own peace of mind and my own safety and sanity. So I'm not really, you know, I guess I'm not really as social as I used to be. Well, I guess we could just put it that way. Um, I just do what needs to be done, keep to myself, do what needs to be done, and that's that. Um, and there's you know, I don't know. It's just, I don't even know how to put it. It's just, it's a new life. It's a new life, definitely. And I don't really see much deviation from the way things are in my life right now, as far as, you know, the trust factor goes, as far as the comfort level goes. Um, but I just wanted to get that out. I was being compelled to speak about it. Um, and so I wanted to just, get it out. And it really shook me up, and it really opened my eyes a lot. And, it's been a hard road to toe, as they say. But, by the grace of the Most High, I'm still here. Nothing, was able to harm me. And, I just wanted to, I guess, tell my story. And like I said, it's a cautionary tale. Just be aware of your surroundings. I don't even know. It could have been some strange human trafficking plot. I don't know, but it definitely seemed the way that everything was just in place for so long when I turned left onto that road. It definitely seemed like it was an attempt to do harm to me, by way of a vehicle accident. So I just wanted to put that out there, get it off my chest. I feel relieved that I was able to go ahead and be obedient to the Most High and say what needed to be said. And again, like I said, just one last time, it's a cautionary tale. Be aware of your surroundings. If you ever do come upon something like that, I want you to take a lesson from what I just told you, and just don't even drive up too close to the vehicle if you see a vehicle on its brakes in the dark like that. I mean, I was like maybe a car length away, but I was not. I guess I was too close, and it was too dark where even if I wanted to, I couldn't swerve, drive around this truck because I couldn't see what was coming. And then the truck was coming from the grass. It was just so many factors. The truck was coming out of the grass. I didn't want to get hit by just jumping out there and trying to swerve around the truck. Couldn't really see, that well around the truck because we both had our lights on. My lights were shining on his, tailgate or whatever. But like I said, just if anyone ever finds themselves in a situation like this in the future, just don't even come close to the truck. Matter of fact, if you see a situation like this and the vehicle lingers too long while you're waiting to make your turn, just go the other way. Just make a right turn instead of a left. Whatever you're about to do, just do the opposite. And that's all I got to say about that. So yeah, I just wanted to hop on here and, like I said, just do what I was led to do, what I was instructed to do, and just want to say just peace and blessings to everybody. Do what you need to do. If your peace or your safety or your just your level of trust is being compromised at this time, maybe it's time for you to go into solitude and go within and just do some real just soul searching and some real just stillness. I guess I should say do some real stillness and just figure out what direction that you want things to go in from here on out. I know what needs to be done now. As far as in my life, I know what I know how I need to handle things in my life, how I need to handle myself in my life. Now I have a better sense. It's hard to put it into words, but I just have a better sense of the lesson that I've been dancing around all these years. Just knowing what is a healthy level of trust. Just knowing what is a healthy relationship. Be it a friendship, be it a family relationship, what have you. I just, I know now how to, I guess you could say, prioritize. Some might say compartmentalize, but I know now better how to place things in my life, and this was a real eye opener. You can tell I'm a little choked up because it's really hard to talk about. It's really hard to think that there's anybody out there that wants to do you harm, especially when you have lived your life thinking that you didn't have any enemies. And I know that might sound crazy, but yeah, I was always the type of person. Oh, my life is an open book. Oh, I just how they say a person never met an enemy and things like that. I just always was, I guess, in my younger years, I was always just happy go lucky. I was the type, who could strike up a conversation with the person standing next to me in line at the store. So it's been a real eye opener, and it's nothing wrong with striking up a conversation with the person in the store, but you just have to, we're living in a time now where you have to be a little more adept. You have to be a little bit more what is the word I want to use? You just have to be a little bit, I don't want to say cautious, because of course we got to be cautious, but you just have to be a little bit more eagle-eyed. You have to be able to, just go ahead and don't be afraid to use your intuition, use the spiritual eyes that the Most High gave you, and just, don't let anybody invalidate any experiences that you have. That's another big thing. It's crazy enough to have something like this happen where it seems like someone wanted to do you harm, but then to have people not believe you is really hard. It's kind of hurtful. So once again, I'm not gonna stay on here any longer. I just wanted to get that story out and be done with it, and move on to the next thing that the Most High has for me to do. So, shalom, everybody. Peace and blessings to you, and you all have a good evening. And that's my story.